Good morning. Thanks for joining me in Coffee with Kory. Over the last couple of weeks, I've got to see a lot of people that I don't get to see very often. I got to run through a few of them with you. A week and a half or so ago, got to see my good buddy Tim Scott. If you're friends with me on social media, you probably saw the post of us going out for ice cream. So much fun anytime I get to connect with Tim. Even though it's a lot different than it used to be, it's still a trip down memory lane anytime we get together. Last weekend, my Jossie's nephew Casey, his wife Kara, and their kids came and stayed with us for a couple days. That was outstanding. Always is. Always love having them. One of the nights we went out to a restaurant, we're walking in, and I walked right past a couple of old friends from Blunt that I grew up with, Safe and Dave. And so it was great to see you guys again, if only for a few minutes. I mean, you know, when you're catching up with somebody at a restaurant, it's not like you're going to be able to get the full rundown, but always great seeing people from the hometown, especially when I run into people from the hometown here in my new town. It almost feels like I'm kind of showing them off my city, and I don't know why that is, why I get that feeling, but it's always fun to run into folks from the hometown. Speaking of the hometown, a good friend of mine, Heather, that I went to high school with, lives in Oklahoma. She was coming through this week and stayed with us for a night, and so that was great. Finally got to get a Coffee with Kory mug to her that doesn't have the handle busted off. If you know, you know. So that was great. Had a few different coffee appointments this week. One with my friend Jeff, who's been a great mentor to me. I've often referenced him this way. He's on my Mount Rushmore of real estate influences. The guy's taught me as much about real estate as anybody, and just how to handle situations, how to handle business. And I'll never be able to repay that debt to him, other than doing the best that I can for my clients, and I aspire to do that every day. So it was great to catch up with you, Jeff, and just not only talk real estate, but just talk about life. It's so fun to be able to visit with you on those terms. The other coffee appointment that I had this week was with Clark, my good buddy that we talk about often here. You know, I go over to his house in the morning, and before we know it, it's 2 hours later, and I'm thinking, dude, I probably better get some work done. And now that he's working as well every day, he needed to do the same thing. So, you know, one of those good friends where you can get together and chat for hours and not even think about the time. And so it's always great to be able to connect with you, my friend. I appreciate those times very much. And I do want to make mention that so many times when I bump into all of you out and about, people will say, hey, Kory, I had coffee with you on Saturday. And a lot of times when people reference what we're doing here on Coffee with Kory, they'll ask me how my buddy Clark is doing, and that warms my heart. That so many of you now love Clark just like I do. So it's good stuff. Another one that I've got to make mention of is Cassidy's, one of Cassidy's longest running friends, Jada. Jada stopped by the house this week, and we got to catch up on what she's doing. She's pursuing her dreams as well through her passion of instructing dance classes. And then sounds like she's signed up for a long road of college curriculum, chasing a medical degree, which isn't something that I can't even remember or pronounce. But it sounded like it was pretty involved, and so as someone that's been keeping tabs on Jada's life since she was a toddler, it's fun to see her pursuing her dreams as well. So that's everybody that I've been able to catch up with, I believe, here over the last couple weeks. I want to make sure that I mention a clip that I saw this week that actually came out of a group text that some of us from the hometown have going. Some of us went to University of South Dakota. Some of them went to South Dakota State. And one of my state buddies, Brian, sent a clip of the South Dakota State women's basketball coach, Aaron Johnston, his post-game press conference after they got ousted from the tournament by Connecticut. Now, if you follow women's college basketball at all, you'll know that UConn has been near the top of the mountain for decades. And South Dakota State does a great job here in South Dakota, very competitive, has made it to the tournament a handful of times now. And, you know, the coach, Coach Johnston, relayed in his post-game press conference how a lot of his team had been talking about that week leading up to the game, about how they had followed Connecticut since they were little girls and always aspired to achieve that level of success. And he goes on to say, though, he goes, I reminded our women that now there's a whole bunch of people in our state, a whole bunch of little girls in South Dakota and the surrounding states that aspire to be just like you. They want to play for South Dakota State and be a jackrabbit. And I thought that was a good thing to just kind of take a step back and focus on, that no matter what you're doing in life and you're trying to achieve a certain level of success by maybe emulating or trying to do things that of people that you kind of count as heroes or people you look up to, and you're trying to climb that mountain of success, there's a number of people that are also looking at you, and they're feeling like they want to be just like your level of success and do the things that you're doing. And so that was a good reminder for me to make sure that I'm staying grounded with everything that I'm trying to accomplish, and know that no matter what I'm doing from a personal standpoint, from an occupational standpoint, that there's probably people out there that are watching and wanting to try to achieve the things that we're pushing for with the experience. And so I appreciated that little reminder that Brian sent out to our group this week through Coach Johnston up at South Dakota State. So I wanted to pass that along to all of you as well. As always, thank you for joining me at Coffee with Kory, and I hope to see you again next week.